I have clicked go live on the live stream, which means we are live on YouTube and across Twitter. There's no one watching yet. 2 people have joined, 3 people have joined. I'll let the numbers scroll up a little bit. We've already had some comments. I'll add these to the screen now so you can see. Lee Spears says, yes, boys. Yes, Lee. Sam says, I will enjoy this one. Ronnie Morgan, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good evening, Ronnie. Good morning for Tom. And Drew the Druid says, good evening. Shame we won't be as good as last evening. Well, we can't provide another stonking victory over Wrexham, but we can talk about it and relive the drama for a little bit. Utah Jazz fan says, Pyscod. Nathan Davis, good evening, morning, gentlemen. Helenaldo, Safe AF, Di Richards, Vegas correspondent has already come in with Kieffer as a rat. Tom Phillips, 5 a.m. where you are. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Did you enjoy last night's game or yesterday morning's game? Whichever. What time was it on for you?
7 a.m. So actually one of the more palatable ones. So I watched it on my phone and my desk in work, which wasn't quite as fun as being there, but I got to see it, so no complaints from me.
Ben, good evening. Where did you watch the game?
I watched it from home. Had a mate's dad's funeral in the day, and it was a much needed boost. I'll be honest, but yeah.
Well, sorry about your mate's dad's funeral. PGO says Pyscod. Dylan Jones says, what a treat. Nice one, boys. Ashley HW, Pyscod, and Utah Jazz fans. Ask Tom who we will draw in the next round. We will get there. We will talk about the next round. But first, let's talk about last night's game. Of course, it's the game that reverberated across the streaming websites. Disney Plus has never been the same since. Cardiff City 2, Wrexham 1 at the racecourse. Ben, we talked about it on the pod at the weekend that it was a game that, it could have presented us with some problems. Wrexham could have been tricky if Parky set them up the right way. But in reality, and especially that first half, it was quite easy going for us, wasn't it?
I was worried it could be men against boys that game. Given the physicality and sort of how Wrexham are and the money they've spent, I was really worried it was going to be men against boys. And it was, but not in the way I was expecting. Especially in that first half, just pulled apart. I know they made some changes, but there's still a ridiculous amount of talent on there, like £7 million on Broadhead, lots of other players, Connor Cody on stupid money. But we outclassed Wrexham in a way that I just did not see coming, especially after that Bolton game. Yeah. It feels like a trait of ours now of sort of, we'll put in a disappointing performance, then go up against, similar with Burnley. I think wasn't that after the Stockport? Was it Stockport or Bradford that was after?
Yeah.
And yeah, just tore them to shreds.
Michael, who I presume is a Wrexham fan, says you guys played better than Leicester, Borough, and Millwall this year. Very impressed that first half. Moved the ball so well. Tom, it's nice to get tweets like that, isn't it? Because after the Bolton game, I think there was a little bit of worry amongst the fan base that we were going to be going into this game on the back of a poor performance where we looked very out of sorts. But it was the perfect antidote, wasn't it? It was back to our best. And in that first half, it was BBM ball at its very best.
Yeah, we were brilliant. And yeah, I definitely did worry after that Bolton game. But this team have done it time and time again where we have bounced back from poor results. And we have really raised our game when we're playing some of the better teams, like Burnley. Like Wrexham didn't get out of their half for the thing. It was like the first 6.5 minutes. Like we just penned them in. And it was exactly the same at Burnley. We set our stall out early. We got hold of the ball. We played the way we wanted to play. But like, unlike some teams in the league, Burnley and Wrexham did this. They just let us play that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we do well against some of these so-called better teams. It didn't feel like a better team. Obviously, Wrexham were atrocious for pretty much, 80 minutes of that game. Mm-hmm. But it shows what we can do. And this team seemed to suit cup football. Like, bar the 19 players being away for international duty against Newport, this team kind of do suit cup football because we can play our way. We take a few more risks. And what we were missing in that Bolton game was we were getting to that final third and then doing nothing with it. But that Wrexham game, there was intent. We were getting in the box. And you can see that from the amount of shots we had, on target. And yeah, it was BBM ball at its finest. It was a really, really good performance from start to finish.
Sam says they had the bloody documentary cameras at the train station filming us after the game. Jokers, you and James says first away day for me Saturday, followed by my second on Tuesday. Great to briefly bump into Ben again. I did see you. Hello. I think Bagan has taken the Wintle role of being underrated. That's true. Connor Griffith says, what a pleasure to watch. Am I imagining things, or did Ben James start the name Will Pyscod? Well, I think if you go back to the Blackburn game last season when we won 2-1, it wasn't me. It was Rhys Jenkins, a friend of the pod, Rhys Jenkins, who said he'd been calling Will Fish with Pyscod. I brought it to the pod then, and I think that was the first recorded usage of it. If you go on Google and look back, that's what the record will show. So yes, I think we did start the name Pyscod via my friend Rhys. Ben, let's talk about that first half performance a little bit more. I saw Colwill's interview after the game where he talked about how important the press was. And I think we talked about how Amari Kellyman played well in that first half, how he looked dangerous and how he's looked dangerous in recent weeks. But he was also one of those players that was leading the press. I think there were a couple of dangerous moments. And I think the goal even came from him starting the press and putting the pressure on the players in the defence and winning the ball back. It was really nice to see the press deployed in that way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's what we've been sort of after for the last few weeks. It was everything good at the start of the season with BBM Ball was that high press and really going at teams. And that's exactly what we were doing, leading from the front, the wingers, everyone sort of not giving people time on the ball. And like even the commentary was saying, the second any player, not just like Kellyman or Colwill or whoever, anytime the Wrexham player even got a touch on the ball, there was a player at their feet straight away, so they couldn't get a controlled second touch and have time to sort of make that. And we hurried them and rushed them and just got the game plan spot on. It was that, especially the first half, just really, really strong and impressive performances from all the front four, really. You managed to mute yourself, mate.
There we go. Our two toughest away games in the Cup have come away from home. Keep that up with a struggling Fulham away. I reckon we have a shot at a semi-final here. Graham says, we need to take the chances is my worry. We took our chances last night. I
don't think we did. I think I think Graham's got a fair point there. I was really worried at halftime. You're looking at it, we had like 15, 16 shots in the first half. It was a record in the Cup.
Yeah, we had last season.
It was the best like any team's done in the Cup in the first half, and we only scored one. I think we've rattled the bar twice. Good couple of saves from the keeper, but it is probably the only negative of last night was we should have stuck 4 or 5 on them, really, which is mental to say.
I guess, Tom, to Graham's point, that's something we've already talked about this season, isn't it? When we look back at the Wigan game, when we look back at the Burton Albion game, they're the games where we should have won them by more, even just win the Burton game by virtue of the chances we made. It does feel like it could come back to bite us on the arse at some point, but last night, luckily, it didn't.
Yeah, like at half-time, I was nervous, and it did feel inevitable that Moore was going to come on, score, get Wrexham back in the game, and it kind of petered out. And half of that was true. Like, he did score, they did get back in the game, we just didn't peter out. But we should have been 3-4 up half-time, I think it should have been, at least. Like, we were absolutely battering them, and we have said it time and time again that we need to be more clinical. We've said time and time again that it feels like we're going to batter a team at some point this season. I wish it was Wrexham that we battered. Don't get me wrong, I'll take the win, but putting 4 or 5 on them would have been lovely. But I'm still happy with this young team creating those chances, getting in those areas and sneaking wins for now. But at some point, it does feel like we need to click. We need to put a few more past the keeper because, you know, the games are coming thick and fast where it's getting really, really tight at the top of the league now. So, yeah, we need to start putting those chances away because we've got enough attacking talent to do it. You know, you've got the likes of Kellyman who had a really good game, but from like 12 yards out, not the most clinical at the moment. It does feel like that will come. And it's the same with a few of our other players. But, you know, I think I'm just happy with the intent the players are showing at the moment and putting a performance in like that. I think that's probably the only hole we can kind of pick in what was a pretty stellar performance.
Let's talk about some of those chances, Ben. Let's talk about Rubin Colwill's free kick, which cannoned off the bar, which I'd completely forgotten about until I watched the highlights back this afternoon. What impresses me most about Colwill is the way he hits that ball. He kind of hits it almost like a knuckleball, and he gets it so up and down so quickly. And that free kick cannoned off the bar with pace, but it was only a couple of inches from going in, wasn't it? If he was a yard further back, that's a goal, and that's testament to his strike. But he had one of his best games again last night, didn't he, Colwill?
He was outstanding. I feel like ITV need to just stream all our games because we've questioned how do you get the best out of Rubin Colwill. It turns out, and I never thought I'd say this, you need Sam Matterface commentating. There's a turn I never thought was going to happen, but apparently that's how it does it. Just an animal last night, really up for it, proper leadership, and just drove forward. He was, tore players to shreds. And in a way that he's not done enough this season. I know he's had a good season, but that was the Rubin Colwill we've all been after and all know he's been capable of doing. It was that kind of performance. It was top level.
Mark Barrelos says, comment for later. Rubin seems to perform better with Joel on the pitch. Tom, I do think that's true, isn't it? Like, when you look at someone like Colwill, you need a player who's going to do dog work behind him to free him up. And I think when you have someone like his brother who's playing behind him, who covers basically every blade of grass, gets elbowed in the face and doesn't even flinch, which we'll talk about properly later, it frees up Colwill to do what you need to do, which is what you did yesterday.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could grow up with all your fellow players and then play in the back garden and know your games inside out. But it definitely does help. Like, we've seen them set each other up for goals this season as well. And they have got that link-up play. And like you said, they're very different players. Like for brothers, one of them's attacking, one of them sits, and it just complements them. It's the ideal combination, and there's no doubt we're better when Joel Colwill's on the pitch. I think it's not just Rubin better. I think we're better. Like, we've seen that in games recently. It's not quite working out for the likes of Turnbull, but someone like Colwill on the pitch, it really sets the tempo. I think him and Wintle this season have really set the tempo for us. They free up other creative players to do what they need to do. And I just love watching Colwill. There's just no fuss about him. He's elegant on the ball. Like you said, he can get elbowed in the face and he doesn't flinch at all. And that's that kind of hard player we want in the team, someone who's willing to take those knocks. Because one of the worries going into this game was that we would be bullied, and we just weren't. I know it does help that they leave their absolute beanpole of a striker on the bench to start the game. But like, they didn't bully us at all. They didn't lay a glove on us first half.
No.
And the likes of Colwill are one of the reasons for that.
I think it's really impressive, when you watch people, they've got people like Connor Cody and Nathan Broadhead in their kind of starting lineup. And obviously Broadhead, very expensive summer signing. I spoke to a Wrexham fan in the pub afterwards who said he was anonymous. Obviously he had that one chance that he went close with, which he should have scored. I don't know what he was doing to try and volley it the way he did. He should have scored that, but was anonymous for the rest of the game. And I can see why Connor Cody got kind of called up to European squads and World Cup squads for England and never played. He was basically a mascot, because that man is a donkey. I think it's incredible how far he's fallen as a footballer in the last few years, because he was class for Wolves, but now he looks like a League One, League Two defender. He couldn't cope with our team last night, and he looked very slow the whole time.
His drop-off was outstanding, just how quickly he's fallen from this sort of prominent figure with the Leicester side, and it wasn't even Leicester with it. He got relegated with Leicester. It was Wolves and everything along that. He was Everton on
loan. That was his last kind of big move.
And then just, he's like, what's it, the Carragher thing, leave football before the football leaves you. I think with Cody, the football's left him.
It has. He probably never had it. Mike says, I'm a Wrexham fan, was very impressed. You moved the ball like a top championship team. If you had that manager last season, you wouldn't be in League One. Ben, I think that kind of summed the performance up really last night, didn't it? You couldn't really tell that they were the team who had been promoted to the championship and spent 30 million in the summer, and that we were a League One team who'd kind of plugged the gaps with youth, maybe made a couple of signings in the summer and had a new manager in. It felt like we were the more fluid and practice team, basically, the team who'd been together the longest.
Yeah, we looked so well drilled. It was just brilliant. And the one thing we've said is the team hasn't been able to find consistency because they chopped and changed. But that looked like a team that's played together for a couple of years. It was just, it's up there one of the most complete performances I've seen in such a long time. Just the way we controlled it, the discipline, the game plan, everything worked. And like you said, like, if a neutral isn't going to be able to tell, if it wasn't for like the press around it, who was the championship side, who was the League One side. One of them's been on one team's been in free fall for a couple of years. The other's been on a mental rise through the leagues, and sort of like the wave of momentum was there. And it just wasn't there last night. It was just absolutely spot on. And we turned up. It's similar to the Swansea game, of not just the case of Wrexham were bad. And there's a lot of that in the Wrexham were poor. But I thought we were absolutely outstanding for the whole thing and didn't give Wrexham a chance to be good. And that's where the performance is, and sort of you get that glow from it and sort of the good feeling on that performance, because that was down to us last night. It wasn't a case of Wrexham being off their game, which they might well have been, but they were off their game because we were so good. And that's massive for momentum going for the rest of the season now.
The Sky Blue Fox says, watch as a neutral Cov fan. Cardiff are a pleasure to watch, have some great youngsters. Any concerns that Kellyman might be recalled by Chelsea in January and loaned to a championship club? I hope Kellyman doesn't go. I think we saw some of the best of him last night. And obviously we'll talk about the goal next. He was a big part of that goal. Trot's fan account, I'm convinced if BBM takes us up, we could do something special in the championship. His football seems to suit a game that's more open, and when a team try and play against us, Luton, Burnley and Plymouth too. Dylan Jones has posted about the rumour that James McLean hit a Cardiff fan in the car park. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe something more will come about that in the next few days. You and James said, I had a fella next to me to say that Rubin needs to show his consistency if he wants a big move, and he always turns up to TV games. Agree with the second point, but the first point is just wrong, right? I don't think that's right. He's played pretty well in a lot of games this season that weren't on TV. Laurie Paradikis, friend of the pod, Fishnet's the winner. Are we still doing these puns? Mark Cox, Kelly Moore won't go. He's getting valuable game time. Andrew Green said, watching the game yesterday, the only thing I can see will let us down and has done is the chances missed. Michael again says, watch Leeds match late last year. Compare that to last night. It's night and day. It could have been that type of score on last night. 5-6-7 if you'd been more clinical. Did I write this one? Mark Cox says, evening, guys, in chat. Let's talk about the goal, Tom. I watched it back this morning, and I think as much as it's a tap in for Salek, and he gets there really well, the pass from Colwill to Kellyman for the shot is one of the best passes I've seen in years. He's running with the ball, straight down into the box, and he manages to find a gap between two defenders that I don't think many footballers could find. That's the Colwill we love to see, isn't it? Just those little passes that break open the play that no one else can do.
Yeah, he just sees things other players doesn't. He just produces those moments, his turns, his passes, just things that other people on that pitch cannot do. And that's a prime example of it. And, Kellyman as well just was an absolute, just a threat. He was just a pain in the ass for them all first half. He was getting in those positions. He was finding space all the time. And he was just that one clinical finish away from being like just a complete move, really. And I had him first to score, so I was a little bit annoyed. But yeah, Colwill was just sublime again. And it's in front of Bellamy as well. So from a Wales point of view, Bellamy must be sitting there thinking oh yeah, perhaps I should be playing him more. But I put money on him just going, he does give the ball away every now and again or something like that, or doesn't set up his system. He'll do something wrong in his eyes again. But on terms of Colwill being consistent, maybe he's not consistent. Perhaps it's only 10 out of 10s in cups, because he's been plenty of 8 or 9s out of 10 in the league this year as well. He's added goals to his game. He's carried on with these passes that unlock moments like that. And, we're not as comfortable in that game without Rubin Colwill. And there's a reason why commentators are absolutely falling over themselves every time he plays on TV. It's because he's a class act. And you could have put money on it before the game that Colwill was getting man of the match, because he turns up to those big occasions. And that pass was just a prime example of what he can do.
And Ben, Salek with the kind of poacher's finish on the line. Obviously, it's a decent save by the keeper, and Salek just followed it in. It's good to see Salek just continuing to score, isn't it? We've talked about consistency needed for players, and now he's probably on 6 or 7 for the season. I can't remember the exact numbers. And he's scoring all types of goals, but that goal was a particularly satisfying one just because it was a tap-in, wasn't it?
Yeah, we haven't scored enough of those over the years. Even this season, we probably haven't got enough in the box and players coming onto that. I think there's been a few chances we could have done that where it's been Salek shot and players haven't followed in. But him getting that, and he's still not got going as far as sort of real class performances that we sort of saw. This was probably his best game all season, to be honest. He was really, really good, not just attacking, but hold up play, bringing players in. It's exactly what you wanted out of him.
Conor Griffith said the same thing in the chat. Salek held up play was brilliant as well.
Spot on. You could see he enjoyed it as well. It was a good physical battle. They had 3 on him at one stage. He was still shrugging them off and just getting past them. He was an absolute animal last night. And I really enjoy that sort of goal from a striker, because it's a striker in form. It's a knowledgeable striker knowing exactly where the ball's going to fall and taking the chance to get in there. And hopefully we get a few more of those, because like you said, there is something very satisfying about them.
Yeah, when Connor posted that comment and when you started talking about, there was a particular moment in the second half where I think Connor Cody's on his back for a good 5 or 6 seconds, and Salek was just holding him off with ease. And it was that shouldn't be that easy against, an previous international defender who's pretty clever at the championship stuff and a pretty physical defender himself. But Salek just made him look a mug. Mark Cox says, nice to see Salek smiling and looking happier. Di Richard says, hopefully the Doomsday fans can calm the fuck down now. Lewis Watt says, Alex Robertson, lads, thought we didn't need him as he was unbelievable when he came on. Ben, he's really one in the eye for your prediction, isn't he now, Alex Robertson?
I'm fine with that. I'm awful if he's playing like that and does that. Happy to be proved wrong. But let's not rewrite history and pretend like he's been the saviour before that and was outstanding. It's a couple of good games and he's needed them. But he was very, very good last night when he came on, because I was worried when those changes came on. Turnbull and Robertson came on at the same time. I was a bit like, oh, we've seen this last on Saturday and it did not work.
Hail Aldo says, why is no one talking about BBM managed to grow a full beard in the 3 days between the Bolton defeat and the pre-match Wrexham presser? I think I know who this is. I think he messaged me on Instagram about this as well, because he was impressed by his beard growth. Tom, BBM has a lot of testosterone, doesn't he? As proven by his big balls and the fact that he can grow a beard that quickly.
But it shows, I wasn't expecting the big balls comment in the middle of that. That's thrown me. In terms of the beard, though, it's like Samson in him when he cut his hair, loses strength. It's like he shaves his beard, we lose any tactical ability whatsoever. So I think he's got to keep it. He did look really odd without it on the weekend. Like it was the first thing I noticed.
Waxy chin.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Like the bloke already looks young enough. He doesn't need to be trying to look even younger again.
You forget he's 49.
Yeah, no need for it. No need for him to look that good. You know, he can't be good at football stuff and look that good. It's just not fair, really. Like, leave something for the rest of us.
Lovely thick head of hair as well.
Nah, bastard. He's not wearing a hat for a podcast record, is he?
I am going to spoil the magic, though. The press conference they're talking about was before the Saturday game. It wasn't he didn't grow a full beard, but between Saturday and the game, it's still an impressive amount of stubble. Like, for what actual match day, it was that's a good 3 days worth of growth. It's still impressive. There's still a hell of a lot of testosterone
there. Sam is in disbelief that he's 49. Well, he's not 49. He's 47. But he's still in his late 40s, which is amazing. Michael says away fans were loud on the telly all night. Loud. Ian Dalgleish says, actually think Salek will do well against the Prem side in the Cup. How many times have they faced someone of his profile? They'll not be ready. Ewan James says, not sure if it was picked up by fans, but it was interesting how often Trott went long to Salek from goal kicks when we previously would play out much more. Well spotted. I did notice that during the game and thought we were playing it a lot longer. The players weren't dropping in to take the goal kick short. They would just go in all pushing beyond the halfway line, basically, to try and win those headers.
It was to keep the high press, though, wasn't it? It was straight away, get the ball up into the Wrexham sort of...
And then just pressure it.
And just keep the pressure on them. And that's the way Wrexham didn't get out all game. It was an absolute tactical masterclass from BBM. I thought the whole group just nailed it superbly.
Talking about someone who nailed it when he came on, Tom, Kieffer Moore, the big rat. He came on at half time. So basically, I think where a little bit of the beef started with Kieffer Moore was before the game, he was warming up in front of us doing shots as an away end. And he didn't score one. And every time he missed, our fans obviously jumped on it with glee and cheered every time he missed. And he kept kind of laughing and joking, but you tell he wasn't that happy. Obviously, he came on at halftime, Tom. He got his goal, but we kind of kept him quiet for the rest of the time, didn't we?
Yeah, like he was a presence. I always felt a little bit more uneasy when he was on the pitch compared to when you had before, right? Like you have a corner, you have a free kick. He is just a threat, right? And you just knew he was going to come on and score. Especially when you don't score in the warm-up, you know the rules. You don't waste your goals before the game. You don't waste your good shots in the warm-up. That's worrying. We shouldn't be cheering that. You know, we deserve that as a fan base. No, but he didn't do much. I thought our defensive unit were great all night compared to theirs, to be honest with you. Where Salek bullied theirs, you know, Moore didn't really bully ours. I think our defensive unit are just getting stronger and stronger each game. Like, we were set up well. We've been set up well offensively all year, but we're starting to see it defensively now in games like that as well. Even Bolton, we defended really, really well. We were just unlucky with a sucker punch at the end. And it's starting to come together. So, you know, we kept a lot of clean sheets earlier in the year, but we looked a little bit susceptible. I think it was a little bit of a false start, really. But, yeah, Moore didn't really cause us that many problems. But, you know, I'd rather him be off the pitch compared to Broadhead and stuff. We tend to deal with those types of players a little bit better. And I think, like, if the game had gone on any longer, you wouldn't be surprised if Moore popped up with a couple more chances because it's just what he does.
I thought Chambers handled him really well, apart from the goal. And it was just because the ball, it was a really good ball in. I think the only thing you could have had was Trott maybe could have come for it, but that's sort of being very, very hypercritical. I think it's just a very good goal. But Chambers just knew exactly what Kieffer was doing and sort of managed to just cover him. I thought it's one of Chambers' best games for us as well.
Dylan Jones says, not many say it, but thought Ashford had a great game. He looked sharp. I thought he was back to some of his best. Mark Cox, no midweek game next week. Do we go full strength against Peterborough? I mean, why not? Sam still can't believe about BBM being in his 40s. Doesn't look a day over 35, the handsome bastard. Lewis Watch, that was a top all-round team performance, but Ryan Wintle goes unnoticed with the work he does behind the Colwill brothers. I think that Ryan Wintle was back to his best yesterday. Salak has scored a goal every 3 games for us since January. That's a silly good return. Let's talk briefly about the goal, Ben. You touched upon it there. It is a good header by Kieffer, but he is helped by the deflection on the cross, isn't he? Because I think if the cross comes in flatter, I think Chambers is probably getting there. You can see the way he's judged it. The deflection takes it up, and that just gives Kieffer Moore a chance to readjust. And, you know, say what you want about Kieffer Moore, but those headers are his bread and butter, aren't they? Because he could just run onto it and power it home.
Yeah, like he's the last striker to score 20 goals for us in a season. And he did that for a reason. He's a very, very good target man. His goal for Wales, his record for Wales speaks for itself. All right, he might not be the most popular with the Cardiff fans now, but he's a top level striker, and you can see that with a header. He was just brilliant. But yeah, you are right. The deflection sort of takes it. And that's probably why Trott doesn't come for it, and it makes it just so much harder for Chambers to defend as well, which is unlucky. It just sat upright for him.
It did sit upright. Tom, at that point, you know, it felt like that Wrexham were coming back into the game at that point. The crowd, which was quiet all evening, you know, I think I was looking forward to hearing the famous racecourse atmosphere, but it was very quiet for most of the first half. They got going a bit when they scored, but then it was quickly quietened again by us. But at that point, did you worry that they were going to get back into the game and potentially run away with it?
I didn't run away with it, but I thought they would get a bit more of a foothold. And I thought they had a little bit of one, but I thought it would last longer than it did. But that's the most impressive thing, right? We got straight back at them. We were like completely unfazed by it. We stuck to the plan. We got back at them, and we were the better team again. They had probably 15-minute spell, if you're being generous, of kind of being on top in that game, and we were straight back at it. And yeah, on the atmosphere, like you can see their fans weren't too happy with it either. I know it doesn't help that a whole stand has disappeared behind one goal, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we were the loudest fans all night. You could hear it on the TV. And that does help, right? Like you've got the players mentioning that, you know, they notice when there's limbs behind the goal, when the fans are going nuts, and they notice how much it means to them and stuff as well. So, you know, the fans are going to take some credit there of like just sticking with them like through the game and just generating that atmosphere, because their home fans didn't quite do it. But yeah, we really got back at them. I think we mentioned earlier in the year, like the bounce back ability of the team, and we showed it again, right? And we haven't done this against someone who's bottom of League One. We've done this against a team, you know, who are in the Championship, who've had momentum of winning games over the last few years, and at their place as well. And I think that's the impressive thing. Like we've beaten Burnley and Wrexham, but we've beaten them both away from home. And to go to those places, to beat a Premier League caliber team, a Championship caliber team, and to do both of them fairly comfortably, and in both games, like see through a bit of adversity as well, where they've got back in games. It just shows the character of this young team, and I'm becoming more and more impressed by them, the resolve that they've got every time I see them play.
Ben, we didn't panic. We kind of got back into the game as quickly as we could, started controlling the ball. A couple of subs, you know, Isaac Davis came on. He made a difference when he came on. I think he was very good at closing people down on the wing. I think we just didn't panic. We didn't succumb to any nerves. And I think that was the most important thing, right? You know, in a game like that, maybe a couple of games ago, we might have crumbled. Against Stockport away, for example, we were kind of under pressure for the whole game, and it didn't work out in the same way. But in an atmosphere like Wrexham away from home, we just got back to it, didn't we? With no fuss.
The players just looked so prepared for every aspect of the game that they threw at it. There was nothing that came, even when we scored. It was very easy, because Wrexham did sort of get that momentum. It's very easy to get panicky and a bit sort of, oh shit, because the fans definitely, I definitely got a bit worried. I was like, oh, well, the first half was nice, at least. We will always have that sort of moment. But no, it was just calm. They knew what they were doing. They were just like, right, we're prepared for this. We know what's coming. And every player did it. Because also you've got to think, Davis comes on at half time. Hopefully it's not an injury for Kellyman. And it was just resting up because he's played a lot of football. But Davis came back on, and it wasn't like it took him time to get into the game. Straight from the half time, straight into it, knew exactly what he was doing, well drilled. And that's all down to coaching. And it's just, I can't talk about how good sort of on and off the pitch the club handled that last night.
Yeah. It was. I mean, as an away day, as an away end, as a game to watch, it's one of the best ones I can remember in the last 3 or 4 seasons. It might even be the best one. We haven't had many fun ones over the last couple of years away from home. But that yesterday in particular was just everyone was singing the whole time. Everyone was bouncing. Like the celebrations for the winner were some of the best. I don't know how many people I hugged. I don't know how many seats I stepped on trying to get over people. It was just incredible. Lewis wants anyone know where Callum Robinson was last night? He was on the pitch celebrating at the end. I don't know if he was injured or not. Someone, I think Di asked me that earlier when I was texting him, but I don't know if he's injured or not. Di Richards, just mentioned him, is only the start of what they're capable of. We have to stick behind them. Interested to see who BBM brings in January. Michael, the Wrexham fan, says Moore has been wasteful lately. Had an easy chance to make it 2-0 at Borough on Saturday and hit the bar. Parkinson needs a plan B. And then the final one was from Mark Cox. Says hopefully get home a home tie next round. Fill the stadium. Show the missing fans what they're missing by watching BBM's babies. Let's talk about the goal, Tom. Firstly, was it a free kick? Chambers gets knocked in the air by Ryan Barnett. I think it was. It looked a little soft for me. I can see why the referee's given it. He was pretty poor all night, the referee, so we were due one. But in your eyes, was it a free kick?
It is a bit soft, but you bang on with do one. We're saying how well Salah played all game, right? He played well despite getting absolutely fuck all from that ref. Like he'd stand there and then it'd be a free kick against him. He could have the whole back line climbing on his head and he'd get fuck all from it. So I think we would do one. But yeah, onto the goal itself, though. It's some finish from a centre-back, isn't it? The way he strikes that ball, he just catches it absolutely flush. I didn't really realise it went in at first.
No, not I at first.
Like it looks visually odd because it just hits the keeper, goes in. It's like, what the fuck has happened there? How has it hit the side net and he's the other side of it? But it's some strike. It's some composure to get your head over the ball and just to absolutely thump it like that. And couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. Like his kind of cult status is building now. It helps the whole Pyscod thing. Even the club called it Pyscod in. That's a debate for another time. Is it Pyscod? Is it Pyscod in? I think we need to get our Welsh speakers, writing in. There's an argument for both, I reckon.
Well, there was a bloke on Twitter, a Jack came on. He was like, Pyscod is plural of Pysgodin, which is spot on. But in English, what's the plural of fish? It's fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're 6 years old and then it's fishies. So
and I am 6 years old.
Mentally, yeah. But
he performs like more than one fish, right? It's fine. Yeah. He's a big man.
He wears the number 2.
Plural.
Good.
It's plural.
That's good. So I don't need to cancel my order of the Pyscod shirt. We're sticking with Pyscod.
We're sticking with Pyscod, yeah.
There we go. I've derailed that completely. But yeah, I think
we are all going to have to get Pyscod in or Pyscod shirts at the end of the season, aren't we, when they go on sale?
They're not going on sale.
I'm wearing. Yeah, they're going to be highly so. We're going to run out of P's and Y's in the club shop.
They're going to double in price. Because this bloke's his status is building, right? We've missed him in the team. Like, it's noticeable when he doesn't play. We've looked less solid. And if he starts adding goals, because I think he scored like 4 goals to Hibs as well, right? I think he's got a few goals in his locker when he wants it. And if he keeps putting balls away like that is some finish. And he's just been absolutely unreal at the back as well. Like he's been solid. So I'm really glad he got his goal because he enjoyed that. When he ran over to the fans, the smile on that bloke's face, it was lovely to see. And
I think Colwill pushed him into the fans as well down at the front, and they all just kind of mobbed him. I think he was almost in slight disbelief that he'd scored it, but it was a great finish. Ben, you're going to say something then?
I've just seen the most confusing comment I've ever seen on anything ever.
No such thing as a fish. I think it's from something. Yeah, it's a reference.
Oh, is it? I was going to say.
I couldn't remember what.
Actually, is this like proper tinfoil hat thing of just going like the rivers are actually empty? I was so confused.
Well, if you're ever interested in a conspiracy theory involving sea life,
some QI.
Okay. Look at how eels are come about. There's this whole story about where they trace.
They only breed in one part of the ocean.
Yeah, they breed in one part of the ocean, and nobody knows exactly where
it is.
Do eels just spawn or whatever it was? There's a whole article about it. Anyway, that's a tangent. Ben, let's talk about the goal a little bit more. Joel Bagan's cross, for a man who overhits his corners almost every time, to put in a cross like that, it was sumptuous, wasn't it? The way it dropped at Will Fish's feet.
Yeah, I'm starting to think he doesn't overhit him. I think that's been the plan the whole time, but it's just not quite come off that well. He was superb. Just a wonderful ball and a really good performance from Bagan again. Just absolutely solid the whole game. And yeah, it's just such a nice. There's an angle that the club have put up on Twitter of the goal, and you see the cross there and the dip of it with Fish coming at the back post. It's such a nice angle to see a goal from. It's beautiful.
Joel Bagan got man of the match on FOTMob. 8.3 was his performance. He was great in the attack. He was very good defensively as well. He won all his duels on the ground. Di Richards is right. Oh, no, that's the wrong comment. Sorry. Di Richards has pointed out that Moore is the last man that the ball goes over the top to. Isn't that just a little bit sweet as well, Tom? That after shushing us with his goal, he's the man who misses the defensive header before Fish puts the ball away.
Yeah, it's poor from him. Like, he doesn't really
poor.
get off the ground. Like, the commentators on, like, the footage I was watching, like, it was the first thing they mentioned, really, because, like, he just doesn't get off the ground. It's just,
no. He's
there because he has to be there rather than doing anything. And it's just poor defending. Like, he's got to be getting ahead on that. You know, it's all good, like, getting ahead on it up top when you can get a bit of glory, but you've got to do the defensive work as well. And, like, his lapse has cost him a goal there. And, yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. Yeah,
nice for him. He didn't turn around and shush us after that, did he? The big lanky rat. Mark Cox says Joel Bagan's been one of our most consistent players this season. Joshua Francis, Fish's goal is in my top 5 goals against Welsh clubs. Great limbs from the fans. Now that is a ranking that I think we need to do over the next few weeks. Hale Aldo says Will Fish is definitely more than one fish. He's a fucking school. Sam says I knew that the whole away end was jeering every shot he took in a one, but that Moore would just score. Glad he was we were on the winning side. And Ian Dalgley says, "Hope we don't run Bagan ragged. That's the only reason we need left back cover. He's been such a consistent performer this season. I don't think we've gone Bagan was bad. We haven't. He's been our most consistent player." Based on
that, on Monday's pod, there was a comment from Drew where he said, "I hope Bagan is injured." It was a genuine typo, and he meant to put Bagan
it was a typo.
Injured. So we gave him a bit of shit for that. It's a very unfortunate typo. So let's clear that up now and clear his name because that's unfortunate.
He did tweet us quite quickly after they listened to it and said, "Sorry, didn't mean that." And I think fair enough. It does happen. We do make errors and we do make mistakes. The one thing we haven't talked about, Ben, on the Kieffer Moore topic is his rat-like behaviour with Joel Colwill. There was just no need for it, was there?
Just odd, isn't it? Really odd that he's just decided to fling an elbow out of nowhere. I don't get it because he's not like he gets booked for elbows at the best of times accidentally. The try to throw one deliberately and miss is quite ironic, really.
Well, I think he catches him. I think the most impressive thing is that Joel Colwill just doesn't even stop and just goes, right, I'm going to try and break his arm.
Armbar.
Yeah, he armbars him. And he almost succeeded, Tom, didn't he?
Yeah, I missed it at the time as well.
I didn't see it this morning.
I thought it was just Colwill had fouled him, but I didn't realise it was a reaction to something.
But I think it just shows that we were getting under the skin a bit, right? I think we rattled them from start to finish, really. And even with the goal, like Moore was on one. Like he liked scoring against us anyway. We kind of bring the best out of him. But then it's just petulance, right? And it's the petulance that comes from when you're being rattled by a team who are a division below you. And like not just beating you, but like, you know, just doing a number on you as well, right? And he's probably frustrated he's not started as well. And yeah, it's the frustrations taken out on one of the kids in our team, and one of the kids has stood up to him. And it's fantastic. Like, I'm all for him elbowing it if our players react like that, because it just gives us another reason to get excited about this team, right? The result of it that they're showing. So yeah, it's a bit of a shocker for Moore, but just another kind of string to Colwill's ever-growing bow.
I think Kieffer's going to sell that house in Cardiff.
Possibly, yeah. He's really like ruining his rep, isn't he? Like, kind of like, we weren't too happy when he left, but it was kind of fine, mainly because he was Welsh. But like, the more I see him in club football, the more I'm getting like, I'm just losing respect for him. It's just something about him. He's got a smarmy head as well.
Because
he put
the transfer request in and force through the move to Bournemouth, and like it's fine. Like you put the request in, do all that, but like he seems to act like we wronged him.
That's exactly
my
what I
issue
was
with
going
it.
to say. That's exactly what I was going to say, because it feels like we didn't let him leave when we did. It felt like we weren't trying to stop him from leaving. We were just trying to protect our asset in that sense. And I think you could see it on the Twitter, in the Cardiff City Twitter feed. It was like they called him the centre forward. They didn't really want to refer to him by name, which I thought was like
funny.
another level of enjoyment to the pettiness. It's like, what has gone on here for us to have that level of hatred? And I think it's really funny because he likes scoring against us, but he also likes losing against us, doesn't he? Because he scored for Ipswich against us when I think we beat them in the last minute, and I think it was under Bullet that season. And obviously he scored again last night, but then we beat them in the end eventually. So he never gets the full satisfaction from playing against us, which is actually really, really nice, which is what I really, really like. Harry Dickens says, Kieffer Moore, welcome to the Ysgol Sgilliau I Pysgod. Jamie Anderson says, go on the lads, long trip and diversion by the replacement coach to get to the game at 9:15. Ready to see the Pyscod score. I mean, that's a fair effort, Jamie. I saw some of your tweets about that. Looked like a nightmare journey, but to get there for the Pyscod goal would have been absolutely delightful. Ian Dalglish says, now I've seen the slow-mo. Joe Colwill no sells it, then injures Moore as recompense. Lewis Street says, Moore's been rattled since the booze at Ipswich. Barry Bullshit says he caught him flush. Michael Thomas says, Michael says, Sorba Thomas gave the Wrexham fans the business at Stoke a couple of weeks back. Players will always want to stick it to the fans when they can. Sam says, scored the brace last year for Sheffield United as well. Probably his only bloody goals for them. Roger Parker says, how can I love and hate a player as much as I do with Kieffer? And I think I was stood in front of Oliver Rees, friend of the pod, last night, and when Moore came on, he said, I love him so much, and he's going to score against us. But by the end of it, he was pretty rattled by Kieffer Moore as well, which was really funny to see. So, and Barry Bullshit says, used to love him, but absolutely hate him now. Ben, let's just talk about how good it felt to win that game at the end and the celebrations with the players on the pitch. Like, you saw it in Rubin Colwill's interview. He almost dropped the F-bomb. But you can see that
he looked like his man was going to tell him off. I really enjoyed that. I'm in trouble.
But you can see a connection growing between this club and the fans, can't you? These players and the fans. It didn't really feel like we had that last year. It didn't really feel like that the year before. There were some players, but now it feels like there's there's just a loving between this unit of players and us, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's been lacking for so long. Like, how many times last year did we say there's a lot of these players I could see leave and wouldn't give a shit about? There's so many of the last few years of players that will be looking back in a few years and go, oh yeah, I forgot he played for us.
Yeah.
It's not there with these players now. I think it's because, like Nicole said, like they were there at Wembley in 2012. Like they're Cardiff boys. A lot of these have come through the academy. They know what it means to play for this shirt. And that goes such a long way in every aspect of the club, just bringing it all together. They get what they want. BBM saying all the right things as well, sort of with the press conference of just how much he didn't understand how close this, like the fan base is. And like you said itself, it can be quite reactionary. It can be quite difficult to manage at times. But that bond and that just likable side of the players is there. And like this players sort of starting to show their personalities a bit as well. Like Salek in his interview sort of rinsing Wrexham and talking about how they're trying to force this rivalry. They're trying to force this rivalry, and to be honest, we're above that. Love that. It's just little bits of likability from everything. Even the club socials are starting to become a bit more fun, and that's what you want. It's just, I don't want to hate this club. I love this club. I shouldn't be getting annoyed with you, and just little bits of that go such a long way.
It helps though, don't it, when you win games. I think especially from the social media side, it frees up the club to have a little bit of fun with it, and it allows those players to kind of flourish, right? And when Will Fish scores, you can push him into the crowd. You can't really do that when we concede a goal, because I think you get less hugs back from the fans. But I think it's starting to build, and you're right. Like you said about those players there, we didn't give a shit if they left. The good thing is, 90% of them did leave, and it allowed us to build. And like I mentioned earlier on, if we had BBM last season in the Championship, we would have stayed up, and we wouldn't have built this kind of momentum still. It has been refreshing to drop down a league, start to win games, play youngsters. And Ryan March said this last year, and I didn't believe him. He said, dropping down the division would be one of the best things that could happen to us. And it has been. And it's starting to build from there. And, that good feeling, like you said, is coming back. And add a cup run to that, like we have.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's the perfect storm, right?
Yeah. Jamie Anderson says, I will say, isn't it testimony for the change in performances from Saturday to Tuesday? Massive change of tempo. Halftime Oranges says, we were simply magnificent. Wrexham spoke of needing an academy. Last night, we showed them just how much. I think they will struggle post-Christmas and be in a fight to stay up. Sam says, the perks of having so many homegrown lads in the squad is it definitely rubs off on the rest of the team. Mark Cox says, there's a connection because they support Cardiff. Ian Dalgreave saying, I remember Salek weeping after being relegated and he's still not been here a year. Llewellyn Humphrey says, Pochetti Pyscod. I just think, and there was a question, Di Richards, I can't find the comment now, but he asked what the fans were like after the game, the Wrexham fans in particular. We went to the pub with the Wrexham fans afterwards, and they were almost disappointed but not surprised with what had happened on the pitch. Obviously, they made a lot of changes, but they still expected to kind of beat us when you have people like Broadhead, Sam Smith playing, Connor Cody playing. But they couldn't believe that how poor kind of Broadhead was in that first half. I think they are kind of not struggling to get going this season, and they were very impressed with us as well. And I think it was really, I think it's really given us, I think it gives us something to build on, doesn't it, Ben, in terms of that performance? You know, when we talk about Saturday and we needed a reaction, you couldn't have got a better reaction than that yesterday. And now it sets us up going into, we've got another international break coming up. Barry Bullshit says every player was outstanding, but I've got to mention Capaccio, outstanding once again. Capaccio he was very good again yesterday. It gives us something to build into going into Peterborough with, as Jamie Anderson says, Voldemort Williams on Saturday. Another cup game where we can try things out and play a bit differently. But I think it's just exciting, isn't it, Ben, that we know these performances are things that we're capable of.
Yeah, I think the only disappointment is it's sort of, this has happened where it's going to be a bit like league now, it's going to be a bit disrupted. We haven't got a league game for a few weeks. It's international breaks and cup games. If we could get these performances in the league, that's the next step, isn't it? It's taking that domination and sort of those playing the way we played last night, taking that and putting it into league games, which is going to be very difficult because I know with the big boys there, we've sort of had the underdog tag against us, which is weird to say against Wrexham after all these years. But yeah, there's such a platform there. We know what we're capable of now. This is the bar. Like the bar's been set now. That's sort of this level we need to be trying to hit week in, week out. Now we've seen exactly what all of these players are capable of, and that should be really encouraging.
Tom, it's time for the question. Who do you want in the next round? Obviously, last night Brentford. I think did Fulham go through on penalties?
Yeah, yes, they did. Yeah.
So you've got Brentford, Fulham, and us in the hat already. Tonight it's Arsenal, Brighton, Liverpool, Palace, Swansea, Man City, Wolverhampton, Chelsea. Someone mentioned the potential. Sorry, I can't remember. I can't find the comment. Quite a few have come in since then of the Master versus the Apprentice. If Man City go through tonight, BBM versus Pep Guardiola. That sets it up nicely, doesn't it?
The thought of that honestly bugs me. I thought about that yesterday. It was like it's going to be so boring. Like the whole build up to that, I really want to avoid it. But there's 6 London teams left in there, which is nuts. Which makes it easier if I fly over, I suppose, just pop in, pop back. But I'd quite like to play Palace personally. It feels like it's been like a while, and like it's one of the first away games. I think it was. It's either first. No, it was my second ever away game was Palace. And I lived in London for 8 years and didn't get an opportunity to go there. And just, I don't know, it feels like we do one. But to be honest, we probably want a home tie, right? Like we want to, I think we want to bring a big club. Yeah, I think like we'd do a big home tie against someone. I'll pack out the CCS. Like we want an opportunity to do that. Yeah, it'd be nice to play like Spurs away because of the shiny new stadium. But like, Wolves would be a good draw. But like, it's kind of like when you're at this stage of the cup, it's like, do you want a good draw? Yes, because you want to progress. But at the same time, you do want to play a big club. Like Wolves just is kind of like, ugh. But we've had a couple of draws. Like Burnley was a bit of a, oh God, we're playing them, but we did them. So, you know, Wolves won't be prioritising the cup because they're in a world of trouble. And their second string are going to be pretty poor at the moment as well.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the first.
A long-winded answers in. I don't know. But I think... What about you?
I want Tottenham. I want Tottenham away if we're going to get a big team.
Did you live there?
Because I live there. Yeah, I live at Tottenham. But I do. When I look at the list, like the only team I desperately want to avoid now, obviously, is Swansea. Just because
we beat them though.
We have beaten them, but I also
I think we would beat them.
I think we would beat them.
Comments from their fans already thinking if we play like we did against Wrexham, they're in a similar boat at the moment. Let's not get I won't get too carried away because it'll come back and bite me. But for the first time in years, I'd fancy us like going into that game.
We've got comments from Joshua Francis saying Chelsea to get revenge for that game in the Prem. Graham, Fulham home, they only went through on pens, chance to get to the semi-final. Mark Cox says, how about Jacks win tonight and we get them at home? Barry Bullshit says we played Palace on the way to the 2012 Cup final, which is true. And Ian Dalgleaf says, Ernie said on ITV after the game he'd love to see us play this way against the big club. Ben, we're coming to the end of this now. We've been on here for 50 minutes. We only plan to do half an hour, but we've all got very carried away and excited. Who do you want in the draw?
I think for me, it's anyone but the winner of the Jacks versus Man City. I think
that is a narrative tie.
It is, and it's just the one I don't want to deal with. But then I said the same with Wrexham, and that was fucking ace last night. So it's quite a nice stage of sort of all of them. You're looking at, you go, Brentford home, probably a bit pants, but Brentford away, new stadium. Yes, please.
Nah.
Spurs away would be quite fun. Palace home or away, there's something about their fans, and I've not got to go to Selhurst Park, so yeah, it would be. There's plenty of good options there. Other than Wolves away, I'm happy with Wolves at home. Pack the stadium out and sort of go through to the semis would be lush. Anyone but Man City or Swansea, really,
or Wolves away.
Wolves, it wouldn't be the end. I'd be annoyed, but it wouldn't be like, oh, that shit. It's the third
winnable, isn't it? Yeah. The draw's at 10:30 tonight. I think we're ball number 2 for what I read earlier. So I'm sure we'll all be staying awake. And I do think when you look at it for the first time, there's, if Man City go through, obviously, there's not a bad draw to get there. We'll be the lowest ranked team going into it. So people will be looking at us as a bit of an underdog. And I think that suits us a little bit going into this. I just love I think, to round it off, last night was just, it was the first time in a while, Tom, where it felt like, it's probably since the Swansea game last year, where it felt like the pressure was on us to actually win the game. And we went up there and we lived up to the expectations of BBM ball. We played good football. We went there, took the game to them. And that was just really satisfying, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can't underestimate as well the impact of beating a team like Wrexham these days, right? Like, it's an opportunity where you have got eyeballs on the club who wouldn't ordinarily be watching us. Like, the result came in and like people around my office in Melbourne knew about the result. Like that, like who don't have like a clue or any interest in football whatsoever. And it's a big statement. Like a few years ago, beating Wrexham wouldn't be a statement. It is now. And I think like it's a bit of a turning point for this team.
Yeah.
We've done it on a big stage in front of people who wouldn't ordinarily watch us. And it's a perfect time to build some momentum. And yeah, like you said, there's a little bit of pressure on us to get a result because I think there's a little bit of expectation from our fans, not from outside the club, but we definitely lived up to it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Genuinely one of the best aways. I say thank you to everyone I saw yesterday who said hello to us. I had people saying positive pod coming up, happy pod coming up, all that kind of stuff. We jumped on tonight and hopefully we've been able to kind of give you some joy this evening. People say that sometimes our podcast is a therapy session, but in times like this, it's just a way to enjoy ourselves a little bit more, isn't it, Ben?
It's nice to have a laugh in it, just reflect and bask in a really, really good win against a club we haven't played for a while. It's the best feeling I've had after a game probably since we beat the Jacks at the Cardiff City Stadium last year. Just lovely.
DJ's got a novel way to do the draw. Wish they wouldn't tell you the ball numbers. Spoils the draw. Just in way to do the draw. And Halftime Oranges says, when do we all feel as confident as fans of the club? It's a feeling we've not had in many seasons. Long may it continue. Here. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Twitter.com/VFTN. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you to everyone. There's over 800 of you watching at the moment. Sam says, it was nice to see you, Ben, in the pub. Hope you had a good night up there. I bloody well did. I spoke to a lot of people yesterday. Sorry if I don't remember your names. People coming up to me in Ironworks, in the Spoons afterwards, coming in and out of the ground. It's really nice to get kind of conversations with you guys and to speak to you guys when we're out and about. So thank you for everyone listening and watching and supporting the podcast. We'll be back after the Peterborough game on Saturday. Cheers.
Ta-da.